back to Teen Story Share. This week we're reading our final section of A Gentle Tyranny by Jess Corban. And if you missed the previous weeks of reading from this book, those will be linked down below. Next week we'll be starting a brand new story. Trio is already leaning against the fig tree when I arrive at the riverbank, carrying 2 bananas and a leftover breakfast pastry. "I brought us something," I say, sliding down the trunk to sit next to him. I hand him a banana, then tear the soft, bubbly empanada in half to share too. "Well, thank you, Ray." He takes the fruit by the stem and smacks mine with it, initiating a banana sword fight. "You're so immature," I tease. Still, I don't surrender until both our bananas slump in mushy defeat. "If I'm immature, that means you have bad taste in friends." He makes himself laugh with his joke, producing one dimple on his right cheek. He reminds me of a taller, slightly wider version of Little Boo when he laughs. Even the oldest gentles don't look much different from the little ones. Just more wrinkly and with less hair, but ever thin-framed and baby-faced, with a frail quality that makes me uncomfortable if I dwell on it. So I don't, at least not when it comes to Trey. If I ignore the way he gets winded after brushing down the horses or harvesting the orchards, I can avoid facing what'll happen when he gets older. I can pretend we can always be friends. I huff playfully at his insult. "That's it, give me my food back," I demand, extending my palm. He slaps my hand instead. "You can't have it. That's our deal. I risk the whip to be your friend, and you reward my daring with culinary delights." "Whatever, no one's going to whip you, not at Bella, and you know you don't come for the food." He grins at me, accepting his defeat. I grin back. "I win." "You always do," he says, kicking my foot. We sit quietly for a time, eating our squishy bananas, relishing the shade of our tree. Across the river, an iguana climbs a thin branch dangling precariously over the green water. His feet move slowly, his body waddling across the limb. I hope he falls in so I can watch him swim up the slow-moving current. I wonder how many afternoons we've spent along the riverbank over the past 4 years. We never stay more than 20 minutes, or old Solomon, the lead gentle here at Bella, would notice Trey was gone. A gentle taking more than the allotted morning or afternoon rest is not tolerated, not even by one of their own. Trey would probably be given extra chores, of the less desirable variety. Mother would never let Solomon whip him, though. She's too kind for that. I know because she caught us here once, when she was out looking for me at just the wrong time. She stared at us, said hello to Trio, asked me her question, and, though it seemed she wanted to say something else, turned and went back to the house. She's never mentioned it since. Even though I don't adore Mother as Jodalyn and Ciela do, I can see she is a good woman. Reina Pierce is more magnanimous with gentles than anyone else I know. I've seen a gentle in the stocks for not picking up trash fast enough, not bowing his head when a dom walked past, or being away from his hive past curfew. The stocks are in Phoenix City. So is my grandmother. "The matriarch wants to see me," I say, hesitant to interrupt our quiet reverie. "What for?" he asks absently. "I have no idea." This gets him to sit up and face me. "No idea at all?" I shake my head. "Are you going to go?" "Of course I'm going to go. She's my grandmother. She also happens to be the matriarch. No one says no to the matriarch, Trey." His back finds the tree again. "Are you nervous?" I yank a stem of grass and wind it around my finger. "Maybe. Yeah, a little." Trio doesn't respond right away, but I know he's thinking because of the way his brow creases. When he speaks, I know he's chosen his words carefully. "I don't think you need to worry. I bet it has something to do with the succession." My eyes stretch wide. I had never once considered that possibility, not ever in my whole life considered that possibility. "Think about it," he continues. "The matriarch's got to be, what, in her 70s? And she hasn't chosen a successor yet. I'm no historian, Ray, but I'm pretty sure that's a record. She's got to be thinking about starting the competition." "Even if she is thinking about it, what does that have to do with me? I'm too young. Anyway, Mother would be a better candidate from our province. Everyone loves her, and she's the matriarch's daughter. Dom Pierce would be an amazing leader. But if Matriarch Tira had wanted her, she could have started the succession years ago." He's right. Grandmother is 76, well past the usual age when matriarchs begin the process of selecting an apprentice. If she had wanted Mother to be one of the 4 candidates, why wait this long? I still think Trey is crazy, though. Me? Represent a mall province? It's laughable. Even if Grandmother did want me to join the candidates, she wouldn't undermine the province's sovereignty, I counter. I know I have a point, even without his nod of assent. Nede's 8th matriarch might be stern and brazen, but she respects the system our foremothers set in place. At the time of a succession, each of the 4 provinces is required to select a candidate of their choice. Any woman in a province may be nominated, though there are schools dedicated to training suitable contenders. But the final vote lies with each province's 12-woman Senate, just as the Senate members were voted in by the women of their respective provinces. The matriarch wouldn't disrupt our flawless system, especially not for a granddaughter she has barely spoken to. Trey considers my argument. Yeah, she's pretty by the book. Maybe I'm wrong. Obviously wrong, I say, bumping his shoulder with mine. His dimple reappears. When do you leave? In the morning. Taking Callisto? Of course, I add. She likes Phoenix City. Trey huffs. Right. He knows my horse can't stand the city. 6 years ago, Mother's finest mare, Estrella, was studded by an overeager paint stallion who didn't care about old Solomon's breeding plan. The result was Callisto, the smartest pinto Solomon had ever seen, but whom he couldn't sell or breed because of her equine muttness. Sure, half of her is Lexander, a thoroughbred Criollo mix, the most desirable bloodline in Nede, but the other half is paint. In Phoenix City, because of the Alexia's preference for dark, sleek coats, that would get her a job hauling loads. None of that matters to me, of course, because she's 100% mine. Old Solomon started her, then gave her to me to complete her training, saying I was the only one of Mother's daughters who could handle her spirit without crushing it. We've been inseparable since. Anyway, Callisto dislikes the city about as much as I relish it, but I will never take another horse if I can help it. Trey brushes some crumbs from my leg. Then I'll make sure she's rubbed down and ready for you in the morning. I nod my thanks. I better get back, he says with a sigh. A llama busted a fence and old Solomon wants me to fix it this afternoon. With that, he stands, stretches, and turns toward the house. I'm suddenly overcome by a strange reluctance to let him go. Trey? I don't know what I want to say exactly. That I appreciate him? That I'll miss his company while I'm away? That I wish we could spend more time together than the occasional chance meeting or these short picnics on the riverbank allow? That he's the only friend I have, and I'm afraid once I choose my destiny, I'll lose even that? He turns back toward me. Yes, ray of sunshine? I roll my eyes. Whatever nice thing I was trying to put my finger on vanished the moment he used Mother's pet name for me. He knows I barely tolerate it when she says it. The moment passes, taking my nerve with it. I'll see you later. He doesn't say anything, just stands there, looking at me through the clump of flaxen hair that is prone to flop over his face. Then he smiles again, walks up the bank, and disappears. After dinner, I head to my room to pack a few things. I figure I won't need much. Mother is using the trip to Phoenix City as an opportunity to check in at the center, but will still only be gone a couple of days. I've put my 2 nicest shirts and a long linen dress into a leather rucksack when Mother knocks softly on the solid mahogany door. May I come in? She asks. Sure, I say, dropping in a pair of seamless riding pants for the journey home. Mother takes in the room, her gaze lingering on a portrait of me and my sisters, painted when we were small enough to hate sitting still that long. Reina, are you sure you want to go? I try to weigh why Mother would ask this. I'm nervous to talk to Grandmother, sure, but not afraid. I'm not a child. I bet she's just reluctant to let me go because she's being overprotective, as usual. A familiar resentment quickly heats my blood. Let me guess, you're afraid I'm going to fall madly in love with the city and never come back. Or are you worried that Grandmother might start giving me grand ideas about noble destinies besides Materno? I don't give her time to answer. That's it, isn't it? You're afraid that I'll be different from you, that I'll make a life of my own that doesn't include you, or this finca. I say it like a curse word. My voice is loud now, my face flushed. She looks hurt, but not confused. She is a saint and I am a devil. For the love of Nede, why does Mother always bring out the worst in me? No, Ray, I'm not worried about you choosing a different path. I just want to make sure you know which path you are choosing. I tried to meet her calmer volume with little success. I'm not choosing any path right now. I'm just going to see what Grandmother wants. She sits down on the end of my wooden four-poster bed, the very spot she used to sit when she'd tuck me in and lead prayers when I was a child. After our amens, she'd lean over and kiss my forehead, and I would wrap my arms around her neck and beg her to stay just one more minute. She always would. I loved her then. I still do. I know I do. I'm just terrible at showing it. My mother can be very persuasive, Reina. That's all. And while I want you to show her the respect she deserves as matriarch, I also want you to be wise, discerning. Keep your eyes open and remember who you really are. What a funny thing for her to say. How do you know who I really am? I don't even know myself. I know you are strong, that you can do anything you put your mind to, and deep down you are kind. I see it in the way you treat Callisto and Trio. She doesn't pause at my startled expression. Yes, I know you still meet with him, Reina. You might think I'm aloof because I'm often away, but don't for a minute think I don't know everything that goes on at Bella Terra. I do think she's aloof, but not just because she's gone a lot. I simply think she's naive about how life works, and especially about how I work. I suspect she doesn't understand my adventurous spirit because she doesn't have one. She could have done anything, been anything, but she chose the easy way out. She chose babies and this boring rural life. When I don't answer, she continues. I also know you think I'm weak because of the destiny I chose. I just hope your view of me doesn't cause you to do something rash. Is it possible she has heard my thoughts? I just don't understand why you'd pass up the life you could have had as the matriarch's daughter. You could have done anything you wanted to, had a nice house in Phoenix City, or been a Senate member like Aunt Julissa. Or, yeah, even an Alexia. I can't fathom what would make you give up all of that for a finca and some gentles and mundane work at the center. I watch her face carefully. Even now, strained with concern, it's lovely. Despite the small wrinkles and sunspots, no one could argue otherwise. Her features curve softly, so different from my thin nose and wide cheekbones. But we have the same eyes. I'm the only one of my sisters who inherited Mother's hazel eyes, which stand out sharply against our cattail-colored skin. People tell me they are beautiful, but they remind me of weakness because they remind me of her. Those eyes are trained on me now, but they don't give away her thoughts. She seems to be sifting through them, deciding which to share and which to keep locked away, still protecting me. I chose my life on purpose, Reina, she finally says. I felt it was the right thing to do at the time, and I don't regret it. I certainly don't regret you or your sisters or the many gentles I've raised here at Bella Terra. Your grandmother doesn't understand that because she and I have different ideas about true strength and what ultimately makes us free and happy. Soon you'll be making your own decision about which path to choose, and you'll have to live with the consequences that accompany it. She says that last part with sympathy, which infuriates me. Is she so sure I'll choose a path that will make me miserable? I turn away and busy myself stuffing items I don't intend to take into my sack. Finally, she sighs and stands to leave. I love you, ray of sunshine, she says softly, then closes the door behind her. Yes, I am definitely a devil. All right, if you'd like to find out what happens next in A Gentle Tyranny, this book will be available to check out at the library in the teen room. Have a great day and see you again next week. Bye-bye.